This is Dr. Renee Hilliard, and today I'd like to talk about self-love. So, what I see so many people doing is looking for love always from external sources. So, starting as a kid, we start looking for love from our parents, and that's necessary for us to develop and for us to grow into adults and to lead healthy lives. In fact, we depend on others caring for us when we're very small. We can't survive on our own, and we depend on the love of our parents. And so we are conditioned to really look externally for love and take that in from an external source. What happens sometimes as we grow older is that we continue to look only externally for love, and we forget to develop a really strong sense of self-love. And the things that we can do to help ourselves lead better lives is really looking at ways to love ourselves better. So we fill up our own cup, and from there we have more to give others, but also we make sure that our needs are met without looking to any external sources to meet that need for love. And walking through the world in that way is a much safer way to walk through the world, because you're not looking for other people to validate you, to fill you up. You already feel secure and like you have enough without looking to somebody else to give it to you. And the truth is that you are the only person that's going to be there for you every single day of your life, from the day you're born till the day you die. And so it's really important to make sure that your tank is full when it comes to love, so that if you're with a partner and they should leave, and don't get me wrong, there are many horrible things that happen as far as losing loved ones and those sorts of things. But if you feel like your love tank is full because you're giving yourself enough self-love, it doesn't feel so devastating when love from others isn't there, or you can't perceive that it's there. So it just makes you feel more secure in the world. So one thing that I like to teach my clients is look at the thoughts that you entertain throughout the day. So the way we talk to ourselves a lot of times moves into the range of abuse. You know, we tell ourselves things like, I'm so stupid. If my head wasn't attached to, I would lose it, those kinds of things. And looking at the ways that you talk to yourself and seeing if you can adjust that and talk to yourself like you would a best friend or a loved one. One practice that I like is when you look in the mirror, if you say something critical about yourself, aim to always give 2 compliments for each criticism. So if you find yourself shaming your weight, then think of 2 things that you like about yourself. What happens with that is that the positive will always win out, that you'll always have 2 compliments for every criticism. Another thing that I like people to look at is the ways that they neglect themselves. So we often neglect ourselves as far as our body, not taking care of the body in the ways that are best for us. And that can mean a lot of different things for different people. It can mean putting foods or substances into your body that are not good for you, but it can also mean restricting yourself from consuming things because you think that those foods or substances aren't good for you. So just being more compassionate with your body, the way that you move your body. A lot of times, especially if we're working from home, we're not getting as much activity as we normally do. So just being mindful of that. And if your body wants to move, which a lot of times your body will tell you, you start getting fidgety if you're sitting for too long, you'll start getting stiff. So just respecting your body enough to move the body when it needs to move. And that could mean switching off your camera if you're on a Zoom meeting and standing up and stretching. That could mean going for a short walk around the block between activities that you have to do. Listening to your body's needs for rest, letting your body tell you when it's hungry and when it's full, and respecting that and not eating out of emotional need or going beyond the point where you're full just because you have developed the habit of doing so, but really listening to what your body wants and needs. As far as neglecting the mind, a lot of times we are not mindful about how we're spending our time. So even things like, what content we're consuming as far as social media, about how much time we're spending in front of all sorts of screens, watching Netflix mindlessly. And that's not to say that we should never do those things, but just keep in mind how much time you're spending with certain activities and whether they're really feeding your mind or if you're just doing them out of habit and mindlessly going through days and thinking about things that would be more nourishing for your mind. And it could be just, making a point of reading books more often, listening to music, or doing whatever else delights you, but not just doing things out of routine. And then looking at how you're neglecting your spirit. And this means different things for different people. For some people, feeding their spirit means being out in nature more often. Some people, it means being more mindful. Some people, it means rituals and practices that they engage in with their faith. Other people, it could mean just having heart-to-heart talks with friends and loved ones. So however you can feed your spirit better, I encourage people to do that. And what I hear so often from people is, I'm too busy. I'm too busy to do anything for myself. I'm too busy for me time. And what I'd like to offer is that if you're too busy today, you'll probably be too busy tomorrow, and you'll probably be too busy next week, next month, next year, and really for your whole life. And so it's a matter of priority, that if it's important for you to take good care of yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, and all other ways, it's important to schedule self-time, to schedule time for yourself, just like you would for anything else that's important to you. And to place yourself not last on your list, but first on the list. And what happens with the constant bypassing of yourself is that so many people become resentful because they've given their energy and time to other people, to family, children, partners, their work. Also, people become shut down. A lot of times I see people becoming depressed, burnt out, feeling like they're on this treadmill going nowhere. And it even can get to a point where it causes disease and illness just from this constant not caring for yourself. So filling up on self-love is really so important for leading a healthy life, a healthy, long life that feels good. So some tips that I have for easy ways to give yourself love. One is, once a day, eat a snack or a meal in full awareness. So what this might look like is plating your food in a really beautiful way, selecting foods that taste really good to you, that you enjoy, that your body likes, and then first taking the foods in visually, smelling them, tasting them, and being really fully present with the whole experience, tasting the foods, feeling the texture in your mouth, and tuning into when your body wants more or when your body feels like it's satisfied. Another practice for self-love is spending time in nature every day. So even just little bits of time in nature can be really nourishing for the soul and for the body. What I like to do is every morning I get up and I go outside and I take in the weather without looking on my phone, at my app for the weather. I go outside and I feel the weather. So I feel the temperature of the air on my skin. I feel if it's windy or not. I look up and I see the clouds or the blue sky. Even when it's raining outside, I'll step outside and I feel the water on my feet. And I'll spend 1 to 5 minutes outside and just taking things in. I'll listen to birds. I'll feel the breeze on my skin. I look up and I see the sun. What I'll also do is I'll close my eyes and face the sun and just feel the sun on my skin. And then I also tune into my whole body. So I kind of do a body scan and go from head to toe and back up while I'm just fully present there in the mornings. And that has changed the way my days go since I started doing that practice. We are nature. We are part of nature. We like to think of ourselves as separate from nature, but our nervous systems are built to be at the pace of nature, which is a much slower pace than what we generally have in our busy lives. Another easy self-love practice is being in full presence while you bathe or shower. And I actually prefer baths over showers. I showered for years, and I would have a bathtub that never got used, but I started realizing that I really like the bath, so probably do half and half now. But being in full presence when you take that bath or shower. So I have bath salts that are scented like lavender, and I'll put those in. And I don't even fill the bath up that much. I'm not that patient when it comes to taking a bath, so I'll fill up the bath just a little bit. And when I step in, I feel the water and make sure it's the right temperature for myself. I actually listen to the water splashing in the tub. And when I pour the water over my skin, I feel the beads of water kind of rolling off my skin. So I try to stay in full presence. In the shower, I'll feel the water hitting my skin. So different parts of my body, on my back, my legs, my face, my arms, I'll feel the water hitting my skin and try to tune into that rather than checking out and starting with my to-do list in my head. And just, smelling the different smells, the soaps and shampoos and everything, and just really taking it all in from all your senses, just smelling and feeling and the textures and feeling your own skin can be really nourishing. The other thing I really am trying to do more is pay attention to when I feel tired and actually sleeping when I feel tired. I spent so many years where I had to push through being tired or sleepy because I worked into the wee hours of the night as an obstetrician. But now I realize that I'm reconnecting to that sense of tiredness and sleeping when I am feeling tired, instead of going for a snack or watching more TV when I'm getting sleepy at night, and just listening to my body when it's ready for rest to go ahead and do that. Before the day begins is a really nice time to spend just 2 to 5 minutes tuning into your body, stretching out your back, your neck, taking some intentional breaths and just allowing your lungs to completely fill, and just instead of just jumping up and getting ready for your day or rushing into the day, taking a few minutes to go from the sleep state to the awake state and just being present with your body as you wake up. Meditation is great. I know a lot of people are hesitant to meditate, and they say, "Oh, my mind can't just be still like that. I can't do it. I can't just sit still for that period of time." And it's really one of those things that the more you practice it, the easier it gets. And I definitely was one of those people that I just had such a racing mind. It was hard to still it. And really my experience of meditation is that my mind doesn't really go still so much as when thoughts arise, I don't hold on to any particular thoughts. I just let them come and go, and I don't judge them. I just, allow them to be there. But I really continue to tune into the body and try to just bring my focus to my center or my core, instead of being so engaged with the mind, which is so busy all the time. And some days are better than others for sure. Some days my mind is crazy busy and it can be a real challenge. And then some days it's much easier to kind of find that peace of mind and that stillness. But the more I do it, the easier it becomes. And if I forget to do it for a while, then it becomes more challenging again. So I encourage people to just keep doing it and start with really short periods of time. Just set a timer for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and then eventually you can work your way up. But if you try to sit still for an hour when you're not accustomed to it, that's a good recipe for failure. In the mornings, I love to set my intention for how I wish to feel throughout the day. So instead of just moving through the day and feeling however I would feel by default, or letting other people's behaviors or what they say or what I hear on the news dictate my feelings, I really set my intention for how I wish to feel through the day. And it varies from day to day. Some days I want to feel more serene and at peace. Some days I really want to feel energetic, or I'm looking for a thrill of some sort. So I schedule activities throughout my day that allow me to feel whatever I'm feeling. And I also try to reset and return to the feeling that I had set as my intention in the mornings if things come up through the day that throw me off. So it kind of gives me a feeling goal, if you will, for how I wish to feel. And then anytime I find myself veering away from that, then I try to return to that feeling. Another really important thing with self-love is thinking to yourself, what do I think? And not asking others for their opinions if they're not needed, if that's your habit. For me, it definitely had been a habit where I looked to other people for validation of things I liked, or even things like foods I would like. I would say, oh, I like this. Do you like it? And then if somebody didn't like it, I would somehow take that personally. Or just, asking people's opinions about style or entertainment that I liked when it really didn't matter. And if it wasn't that I was recommending the thing to somebody, I don't know why I needed to ask for other people's opinions, especially if their tastes were much different than mine. And I have come to the point where I own my opinions about things most of the time. And if somebody else has a different opinion, it doesn't mean anything about me or my opinion. I can still hold mine and they can hold theirs, and they don't necessarily need to know mine. So it feels like a waste of time sometimes to share an opinion with somebody who you might even expect would not like what you like or wouldn't think the way you do. But sometimes our habit of doing that is that we want them to criticize our opinion and get engaged in some kind of a back and forth with another person. But pulling back that energy for yourself and just keeping that to yourself sometimes is really the best way to love yourself and care for yourself. Self-touch is really important, especially during these times when we're socially distanced and we're not able to hug one another like we used to, or shake hands and those kinds of things. Touch is really important for the body, and the brain doesn't necessarily know the difference between touch from another and self-touch. So doing things like hugging yourself, stroking your skin, scalp massage, foot massage can be really nourishing to the body. Even just touching your face like you would a loved one or a little baby. Applying lotion while being fully present and mindful can be really nourishing to the body. Taking a few minutes to scan through your body and releasing tension anywhere you're holding tension. So I like to do this a few times throughout the day, especially if I've been on a meeting or something. I check in with my body afterwards or during the meeting and kind of see if I'm sitting in a way that I have more weight on one side, or if I'm holding my head in a way that is putting tension on my neck or shoulders. I'll try to relax that. Taking 10 breaths while fully present can be really helpful. And one thing I like to do is place one hand on my belly and one on my chest and make sure that I'm fully inflating my lungs, so allowing my belly to expand and allowing my chest to rise as I take a nice deep breath. And then taking a really nice slow exhale and doing as few as 5 or 10 breaths like that can really help to get you back into presence and help you ground yourself. Also helps kind of calm the nervous system, release stress, those kinds of things. Dance breaks I really like. So when I'm working, I like to turn on music in between clients, or if I'm writing for a period of time, I'll get up and I'll dance just to energize myself. And I like to dance in ways that I don't normally dance. So, because nobody's watching, really dancing as though nobody's watching. So it may not look pretty, but moving my body, shaking, bouncing, doing silly movements really feels freeing to my system. And so that's something that you can do. And if you're in an afternoon slump, a lot of us will reach for a snack, but getting up and doing a little dance break can really help. And you can even go into a closet or a bathroom and do a little dance break. You don't even need music necessarily, but that can be really energizing to the body. Our bodies really like to move more than we allow them to move in our culture. Another way to practice self-love is writing a love letter to yourself. So I do this a few times a week, especially when I'm writing a lot. I'll stop and just write lists of things I like about myself. We spend a lot of time criticizing ourselves. That's just part of our conditioning and our culture. But spending some time intentionally giving yourself compliments, praising yourself for things you've done well. So it could be, I'm so proud of you the way you spoke up for yourself the other day when somebody tried to claim your work as their own at work. Or it could be, I'm really proud of you for not going out with that friend that always drains your energy, and for really speaking up for yourself and deciding that you're not going to do that. Or I'm proud of you for making an attempt to eat better over the last few days. And I really, I love that you're loving yourself in that way. Or getting adequate sleep or whatever else it is. And it can be the simplest things, but just giving yourself credit for the things that you are doing well, and praising yourself for aspects of your personality that you may not hear from others, but you can always give those things to yourself. Doing a self-portrait, and I'm not an artist by any means. I think I got a D in art in the 4th grade. That's a different story, but just drawing a portrait of yourself can be really powerful. So you can do it any way you want. You can do your face. You can do it as a cartoon. You can do it as a full-body nude portrait, or you could even do it as abstract. But doing that helps to honor yourself, and I encourage you to do that. There's a lot that can come through with a self-portrait, or taking a selfie just for yourself. So most of us, when we take a selfie, it's about how do I look to other people, but taking a portrait of yourself just for you and just for your own appreciation, and then looking at yourself as you would a loved one, and being really kind and complimentary to yourself when you do that can be really powerful. The most important thing with self-love is just deciding how you wish to show up in the world. So, that is about like how you manage your time, how you go about your days, who you spend your time with, what kind of things you're consuming, from foods to other substances to media to social media to news to gossip, and deciding actively, how do I wish to show up in the world? How do I wish to structure my days? How do I want my life to look? And none of us gets that perfectly, but just more and more moving towards the life that you wish to live. And that's empowering, and it also ensures that your life will be the kind of life that you want to live. So I hope these tips were helpful, and I look forward to bringing more content here. If there's any comments that you'd like to leave below, I encourage you to do so. And I'm sending you so much love.